and welcome to the STB Racing League Season 17, Round 16 of the season. And we're here at a very unique event. I don't think any other league has this in their season. We're here at the Singapore Grand Prix, but with a twist. It is a twilight race. As you can see, the sun is starting to set. Here, the qualifying will end at night, and so will the race. But we will be seeing the majority of these sessions in basically the conditions that we never see the real life Singapore racing, and it's been a very special exclusive event to STB for many seasons now. And I'm very, very happy to have the incredible Rigsy X back with me in this commentary box to bring us coverage of what is going to be a very special race. Rigsy, how are you feeling in Singapore, and what are your feelings about this very, as most drivers would say, bizarre conditions here in Singapore?
Firstly, Maldi, just want to build on your welcome. It's great to be back once again, and you're absolutely right when you say they're quite bizarre, because I just associate Singapore in the day to like free practice running in real life, because it's always in the darkness when we see it in qualifying and race trims. So it completely like poses a whole new challenge to the drivers, because also it's light, big difference there for the start. I don't know, Maldi, I weirdly kind of feel like the track kind of like blends into the city when it's light, but when it's dark it stands out, which kind of sounds ironic considering that when it's probably dark it will be harder to see something. If that makes sense. It sounds really weird to say,
yes,
but that's
obviously the twilight race, Rigsy, for Singapore was obviously an idea brought by me when we did the 2 tiers on F1 2017. I just thought, you know what, they've had that set in, so why not try something, you know, a little bit different? And it has been a very big success in STB in the past, so I'm looking forward. It was exclusively a tier 2 event, Rigsy, but tier 1 are here, and they're here to give us a bit of action in the sunset. But anyway, enough of that. We have got a new driver with us this evening, Rigsy, in T10 Hawks. A very, very, very promising driver adding to the roster here. What can we expect from Hawks? He's definitely going to be up there, for my predictions, up with Bruno Will.
Honestly, Maldi, I've seen a few people with the name Hawks in their name floating about in the F1 world of social media, so I can assume that if he's any of the Hawks that I think he is, then he could definitely be up there. I mean, I don't want to like go and sit and hold him in that high regard if he isn't the case, he just dives back into the pits there. But I like definitely, if you're sitting here hyping him up, and we kind of know like how much intel you've got on the drivers, because if like I'm assuming you are part of the recruitment process as well, so you'll get to see what the lap times are and what the race pace like and everything else is, so you'll definitely see what he's like in a race simulation. Yes. But if you're holding him in such a high regard to put him in the likes of Bruno Will and Davison and the Hammond Jam brothers, then definitely will hold you to that.
Okay. So yes, Rigsy, obviously as it sunsets and as the track is going to night, that does mean that the lap times are going to be a little bit slower than they are in night, but we are expecting still, I think, at the back end of the session, we're going to be into the 32s for that pole position lap time. So I do think we will be having that. We've got in the party with us at the moment Stubbsy. Stubbsy, on and out lap at the moment, so I'll give you a quick question. If you'd like to include your audio, obviously Italy was a decent race for you, but you picked up a penalty. How are you going into this race? Are you going to be cautious, or are you still going to have that aggressive nature that you've shown in Italy?
Still going full send. I'm currently trying to turn ABS off, but I'm still going full send, not backing out of anything.
Okay. Singapore, obviously a twilight race here. How are you feeling about that? Is it something that you are enjoying, or a little bit sceptical about it?
Yeah, Singapore is a track that I quite like, to be fair, but it's not the easiest trying to do it only without ABS. It's only like my 5th or 6th race without it, but just got to deal with it really.
Okay. And we've got a very competitive field again here this evening, obviously. Who are you thinking are going to be your rivals this evening? Who are you going to be racing with, do you think?
I don't know, to be honest. I didn't really look at who was in the lobby, but I'll just see where I am on track and quality, and track position's important. I'll just see who I'm around in the race.
Okay. Well, I'll let you do your laps, and good luck, and we might see you on the podium at the end. Right then, Riggsy. At the moment, Jamham is P1 on the field. He's coming out again, I think. So, Riggsy, I believe you've experienced league races in Singapore before. What can we expect from the strategy? Because short qualifying is definitely going to spice things up a bit in terms of strategy.
I've done 2 races in Singapore, and they were both in very different conditions. So the one that was in the dry.
Oh, okay.
Well, I say in the dry because technically, right, no, scrap that. Both the races that I've done in league racing at Singapore already both had wet weather at the start, and that threw us onto a 2-stop strategy.
Okay.
But looking at the main pattern as well, everybody's out on the softs. With the fact that it's a shorter qualifying session as well, it's not the full 3 sessions. It really does throw the drivers onto the soft tyres, which will mean we will most likely see either a soft medium 2-stop, or we're going to see the drivers stretch the living life out of the softs and pit about lap 9 for hards to the end,
Yes,
just to make sure the 1-stop works.
They could go for the 1-stop. They could start on medium. I think drivers outside the top 10, that's where they're going to. Most drivers are going to be hoping they actually start mediums to hards. I think that would be a decent.
Because
decent situation for all them if they start.
Because I think maybe qualifying P11 isn't exactly doom and gloom for whoever it is.
He goes P1, 133.1. So Riggsy.
Oh, we're just completely smashing the previous fastest there, 0.8 of a second improvement. But I think P11 might kind of be that kind of disguised blessing in a sense, because you can start on the mediums. The soft tyres drop rapidly once they hit their peak. It is about lap 6-7 before you get the excess grain and lack of grip. And because Singapore is just a very brake heavy circuit and very hard turns as well, it really does kill all life in the tyre. So you kind of want to scrap the softs as quick as you can rather than stretch it out. But I mean, it's that, or you're going to be losing 30 seconds in the pit stop, because it's a short pit lane and it is the slowest pit lane as well. So 37 miles per hour, 50-kilometre pit lane. So you're going to lose so much time, and because it's so narrow in a very tight pit lane, you can end up easily getting caught in traffic, and you can lose so much time hand over fist in the pit lane if you time your strategy wrong. So it really is all up in the air. Talking about strategy with the twilight setting, I don't really suspect it to change all that much, really. There will probably be some differentiations
from what I've
in tyre
experienced,
strategy.
the soft tyres do not work well in the sunset. When the sun is setting, they don't really work very well. As is the case with Abu Dhabi as well, by my understanding. So it's going to be important for the drivers to have that preparation to be able to make sure that they can get those softs working. But we'll see. Hawks is currently P4, new driver here this evening, on a set of mediums. So he's had a good banker lap on those mediums, 34.5. Obviously, we will expect times to be lower, considering that we're not in the official timings.
And looking at it there as well, we've seen Hamjam slotting up into P2 there with 33.4. As we see Stubbsy leaving the pity there. I completely forgot he was still
I think he
here,
stayed
not
in,
gonna lie,
he was on his lap, so I think I interviewed him at a very awkward time. But
no, that's fine. We should have asked for a weather update, but looking at the timing screens, look, we have got a couple of drivers on the mediums, so that kind of does say to me that it is probably going to at least be a dry start.
Yeah.
As we
I
see
wouldn't really
the
want
sky.
rain anyway, really, Riggsy. I think it's just a really, really good spectacle to have a sunset to night race in Singapore. You know, we have it in Abu Dhabi. Admins are talking about having it for Bahrain. It's just very special, you know, from going to day to night. It's just one of those things. I think Saudi Arabia is going to be another one next season in F1 that I've heard could be like, you know, day to night or dusk to night, like with Bahrain. But we'll just have to see. But I just think it's a very special thing, in my opinion.
Like,
yeah.
And that's the question that I'm going to actually pitch to you, Maldy. See races like Bahrain and Abu Dhabi, and in this very rare exception, Singapore.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that they are night races or day to night, like, do you think having too many of them on the calendar would kind of ruin the novelty of night races?
Well, it depends really. Obviously, Singapore is the home of the night race. It was the first race, and then they decided to do Bahrain, Abu Dhabi. But yeah, I think it's a fresh addition to the calendar because we haven't seen it in Formula One ever until 2008. So it's still quite new, even though it's 12 years since first Singapore race. I think it's still quite new, Riggsy. So yeah, I don't mind really. I prefer the twilight races. I like Singapore night, but I prefer it as a twilight race, obviously. Yeah, but yeah,
I can it might be a slight deviation for what's going on, but if I'm gonna throw an opinion out there, I don't know about you or the viewers or anybody else, but I prefer Bahrain in the day. There's just something about there's something about Bahrain in the day that I really enjoyed, and like the night race is still good in itself. Like Bahrain's a really good track and that, but it just really isn't. Like I think it does, in a sense, rob the novelty of the night races off. Because I like the idea. Like, it's like Monaco in a sense. Like maybe no Monaco. I think that's a very extreme example. Like Monaco's the crown jewel. It's been there for like since forever, and like. It's the race everybody wants to win. Like, why can we not treat Singapore and Abu Dhabi kind of like that? Like, they're the night races. Like kind of like, well, Abu Dhabi's the curtain caller. Like, that's the finale. Like the sunset, the sun to sunset to darkness is like a visual metaphor, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I can understand why that is the last race, and Singapore's just the first night race, like the first pure night race. Like, I feel like if you're going to just like have all these like special events where like every like I'm not saying this like to like just completely rip the mic, but like they could end up like doing like Belgium at night or Hungary at sunset and all that. Like it could just like rub the novelty a wee bit. And
yeah, I personally think we should have done the F1 to Kia race yesterday at the time when F2 had it, when the sun was setting a bit, and have the F2 race in the morning.
I was actually quite surprised that it was as late as it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was later
than
last week.
Because like when I was seeing it was like a 5 o'clock start in the UK, I was like, oh, all right.
It was like 7, 8 o'clock in Bahrain.
Aye, and it was like a real night race. Don't get me wrong, lived up to the expectations in the outer circuit.
I mean,
so.
I fell asleep on that 20.
Oh,
so.
Baldy, sorry, big accident at the
big crash,
final 2
massive
corners.
crash. Gravity's out of qualifying. Riggsy. He's binged it, and he was looking pretty strong as well. Where was that on the circuit?
It's just before the pit entry, and Billy WF has been compromised on his final run already because gravity was on the racing line. I'm assuming he's probably just like he's got a bit throttle happy on the exit at turn 19, and he's clipped the curb on the inside. That's threw him into a spin, and because it was such an aggressive impact on the inside wall, it's completely swooped him back to the main racing line. So I feel like that's probably most likely how to sum up what happened. We'll probably hear from him at some point anyway.
Well, anyway, Riggsy, sorry, we're in the closing stage now of the session. It is night time here in Singapore now. So this is where the times are going to be coming from the drivers. Here we go. Stefanko then is on lap. But he's got his lap invalidated, so he won't be continuing. And he was a 10th off as well, obviously. Stefanko P3 at the moment. Brenner Will's only gone P4, but he's on a set of mediums. So he has done a great job there, putting himself up in the P4. I reckon Bruno will win this race, Rigsy, now. Davison is all the way down in P13, Rigsy, sorry.
If he can start as high as P4, then he could definitely be in the best position. Everybody a bit more on the sauce. Tyre life will probably die at about lap 6, 7, and they'll try and stretch that to the one-stop hards.
Yeah.
I feel like the soft runners might maybe need a bailout of an early safety car. And then that's really what... Pull on, Matty's done the same thing. Only at turn 9, no, only at turn 9. As he's going to have everybody coming in on a final flying lap. So we've got Janine just coming through turn 9 as well as Matty's on the outside of the circuit.
That's going to be a yellow flag. That's going to compromise Hawks on his lap. Currently P9 from the debutant.
And Janino's had to back out his lap there as well. I've jumped on board with Hawks, so it's kind of looked like he's kept the fit in it.
Rixie, sorry, one thing I'll ask you in the race, it's actually quite a good point. Matty then is still trying to get himself back on the circuit there. He will start them at P13 on the grid. Davi's in to back off his lap here in Singapore, so that's not good for him. That's 14th on the grid. Alright, Stubbs is on that then, Rixie. This could well be pole position. He is showing some great pace on his first lap, 33.1. We were expecting 32s.
We can ride on board with the Red Bull as he is going to try and improve on his 33.1 as Billy Maldi, just completely went into stealth mode there up into P3 with 33.6, and he is also on the medium tyres, so he is looking to be in a very strong position. And I say that, and Mercury just pips him to P3 there with a very late lap.
Mercury! And he said before the race that he's not very good at Singapore.
Is he trying to throw us off there? Is he trying to maybe send us for a dummy with that, Ian? As Davison retires as well, Maldi, he's going to be starting at P15 at best. P16 now because Victor McFly is just literally putting a lap just there. And you can see that everybody is trying to at least commit to the medium strategy because they know that's going to be the quickest way around the circuit. As Stubbs improves even further.
33.0 for him. Very spaced out here in Singapore. I think the conditions that we've had here this evening have thrown some drivers off.
Definitely, yeah. It definitely does look a bit more shook up than we normally see it, Maldi. We normally have set groups. We normally have the pole position battle. We normally have the battle for the middle of the field, and then we've got the battle for the back of the field as well. So we've got very split categories. But to see a bit of deviation for that it's interesting. I do like having a bit of unpredictability and a wee mix up every so often.
Yeah, I think Singapore has definitely offered that here this evening. So Stubbsy is on pole position for the Singapore Grand Prix. His teammate will line up P6 on the grid. So that is very promising for Red Bull. First then is Stubbsy's first pole in STB, and he does have a 5-second penalty for this race, so he'll be hoping to claw back some time. Second is Hamjam. He's beat his brother to who's P3. Damham. Fourth, LRS Mercury. Very, very strong qualifying. Fifth is Billy. He'll be up with that on a set of mediums. Sixth, Stefanko. Seventh, Bruno Will. Eighth, Connor. Ninth on his debut is Hawks. 10th, Janino. 11th is Zitzi. 12th, F1 Gravity. 13th is Danny. 14th, Victor McFly. 15th, Matty. 16th, Championship contender Davison. And 17th is Kevin. No time set for him. So, Rixie, the thing I wanted to talk about was the Singapore sling. What's your opinion on that? Do you think they should have kept it in? They should have removed it? What's your thoughts?
I'm very much glad that they've changed it.
Really?
Yeah, because it don't know. It counted as 3 turns, even though it was just like one swift motion.
If you want me to be completely honest, I actually loved the Singapore Sling. I think it was a, as I like to say, it was a banging corner. I reckon
it was
banging.
it was very volatile. Like, because you can get in there and nail it 9 times, and then you go for the 10th time, and it's like literally you turn in maybe a fraction later, and then you bounce over the curb that's in the middle, and you're in the wall. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, consistency is one of the kings in motor racing. Like, you've got to be consistent and quick, but like, it's just you're so prone to a mistake, and I'm very much. I mean, gone for a left, right, left to a swooping left is the much better. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Singapore, so like my views on particular areas are going to be a bit biased. But like, I just like every time I remember driving in the earlier Formula One games. I think they changed it for like 2013, 2014, just before the hybrid era, and they had talked about changing it, and it was definitely for the better in my opinion. But I mean, like, people will probably enjoy the challenge that it brought. It was very unique in its own sense.
I mean, like, I just remember the early seasons, Ricky, of STB. I always picked up the pieces when someone crashed there. You know, it was a good opportunity for me to actually get points.
That, and the fact that like, it's the fact that the Cubs weren't exactly like small either. They weren't small, but they weren't exactly like sleeping policemen. They were just like, they had enough of a girth on them, like to throw you up in the air at least. And then as soon as you went airborne at that bit, you were pretty much nailed on to be retiring, because the wall on the outside of 13 is literally right there, breathing down your neck, waiting for you today to commit like such an error. But it really is. Singapore generally is a very challenging circuit as it is, without the extra challenge of the old Singapore Sling. So I'm very much inclined to agree that it's in a much better structure.
Definitely. Rigsby, obviously then, the track, it's cloudy at the moment, so we can't see the beautiful sunset as what we was hoping for here this evening. Viewers that are tuning in are going to be thinking, what is going on? Why is it not black, the sky? Why is it not, midnight? Well, this is exclusively a twilight race for STB, and I think, recently, we may have some rain, because those clouds are looking very dark.
They are looking very enticing. They look like they could be full of some precipitation, as they like to say. But I don't really know what the strategy really is in terms of the weather, because there's a real split in strategy as it is, because you've got the top 4 and Stefanko and P6 on the softs, Billy, and then the rest of the top 10 on mediums, with the exception of Victor McFly 14th, and the rest on hards. So we're going to really be treated to 3 separate races, so to speak, because we're going to see 3 different strategies all in action at the start.
Ritty, who is going to win the Singapore Grand Prix?
I will probably throw my weight behind. I mean, Bruno Will kind of seems to be a favourite, but I'm going to mix up and I'm going to say AB Arcona in P8.
I'm going to say...
You?
I'm going to say Bruno Will. For obvious reasons.
I kind of feel like the softs are a bit of a stretch.
Yes. Also, Rixie, this is the longest race of the season, so get yourself ready, as our throats are going to be killing. Before we get out onto the track then, Riggs, here we go. You've said Connor, I've said Bruno Will. The lights are going to come on for the Twilight Singapore Grand Prix, very exclusive event to STB. Hamjam has left the session. That's not good for him. If you could try get him in, Riggsy, for the start, so I can get them. Oh. I'll do it, actually. I don't know. Wait, he's going to have to miss the start, Riggsy. He's going to have to miss the start. Lights out. And away we go. Here in Singapore. Great start there from Stubbsy. Jamham's had a decent start off the line now. Mercury's got alongside Stefanko. They go down into turn 1. And they've also got the Ghost. I'm going to see that down the back of the field. There's been some sort of contact between Kevin and Matt. We're going to come back up to the front. Now, Stubbsy leads. Second is Hamjam. Two brothers going side by side into the corner. For turn 3, I think that was. Down into. It's very confusing because now the times are confused. But Hamjam's Ghost is going to go up the inside of Stefanko now. Bruno Wills up in P6. He has lost any places. Six is up in a P7. He's on a set of hards. Rigsy. So take us through what's happening.
Seatsy absolutely stonking start off the line there. He was throwing it right up the inside. It looked very like tight for space into turn 1 because it kind of just looked like it was just closing, like it was like a closing wedge really. It looked like the gap was just disappearing, but through the kind of into the chaos there was like a few nits and bits with bits of contact, but like I didn't really see any real significant damage. But CC's managed to find a way up into P6 already on the hardest tyre, and they say the harder the tyre, the slower the start's going to be off the grid slot.
Wow,
but CC has somehow managed to make it work.
Yeah, he's definitely made that work. So it looks like the weather, the conditions have not thrown off all the drivers. They're all racing. 17 drivers at the moment in this race. Kevin is last. Matty is 16th, so that's not good for them at the moment.
And Stubbsy, only driver in the top 8 to keep their position. The rest have gained. As I say that, it says Mercury's went P1, even though he's in 3rd.
Yeah, they need to sort this out, Codemaster, because it's very difficult to see who's where.
And they're saying it's an Alfa Romeo 1-2 once again. Maldi, I think I've seen that one more than the one time.
No, I've seen that a lot. I've seen that a lot of times here in Singapore, but you have to wait for it. Well, yeah, we have in Singapore actually. Sauber and STB have actually been very successful at Singapore. They won the Constructors' Championship in Season 2 here in Singapore, so dominant display from them.
All the years ago?
All those years ago, yeah. Season 2, what days per day. So, Jamman in P2 at the moment. He's been able to break away from Mercury. It's very weird, this track, it's very, there's been a sector 1 yellow flag, Billy Span. Billy's lost the front wing damage. They're down to turn 1.
Oh, Billy.
Billy again, showing that really, has he got tier 1 talent that we are looking for in this division, because he's Span again and he's out of the race again. Just like Bottas. P1 then, Stubbsy. Second is Jampan. Looks like there's blue flags. Why are there blue flags? Is it blue flags for the whole track?
It'll be that graphics glitch due to Hamjam disconnected at the start.
Okay.
It does throw a wee span on the works here and there, as long as it's no inflicting 5-second penalties for ignoring them.
Great game there from Codemasters, but what is great at the moment is Stefanko, second race in STB. He's now right on the back of Mercury. Sitsi has lost a bit of speed, it looks like, Rizzi. He's dropped back to Bruno Wilbert. He is on a set of parts. He's going to be going very long into the race. Potentially even going long enough to put those softs on at the end, which when it's night, those tyres are going to come alive. Stefanko then in the slipstream, DRS, overtake mode. Going to pull to the outside. Is Mercury going to defend this? No. And Stefanko takes P3 there.
Stefanko just edging him out there on the inside of turn 6, and Mercury kind of knew his number was up there in that sense and just decided to maybe settle in. He's going to have Bruno Will right behind first and the medium runners as well. And as you were saying, Maldi, Sitsi kind of really starting to not quite fall away from the group in front of the top 5, but it is the hard tyres, so we would expect to see him being quite... we'll expect him to be a wee bit slower in the early stages while the car's still filled to the brim with fuel. As we see Billy leaving, he retired. Has he retired in the pit lane or has he just left in the pit lane?
I'm not sure.
I don't know either, Maldi, but Billy...
right on the back of Sitsi at the moment. One driver, that I'm a little bit confused about is Hawks. He's not showing the pace that I thought he'd show in this debut race from him at the moment. And he's only P9. And he's made a mistake! It looked like he made a little bit of... Maybe hit the wall on the side of...
Jamham's already in. Jamham's already in the pits, Maldi. I don't know if you can hear me, because you just sounded like you cut off. Maldi. Anyway, I will I'll just take over until we hear Maldi's mellow voice again. But we're gonna see ABR Connor going up the inside of the seat, stay late on the brakes, he taps the side pod and he spins, and that's a spin there for the McLaren as Janino retires as well. Where's that? That's on the straight. How's he managed to crash there? He's managed to crash on the straight on the wee kink. STB Maldi leaves the session as well, so Maldi's connection does see him disconnect for the session, and inevitably probably the party as well. I'll probably see that notification in a minute or two anyway. But Janino with a big accident on the smooth right at turn 6 as he leaves the session. Track goes to green, and we're in. Owen Hawks just really no having the race. He's just gone really slow now. For what I'm seeing, does he have damage? He's got front left, he's got a drive through. He's really just no having the debut as Maldi kind of predicted to have. I'm going to invite Maldi back in the... I can hear you now, right, so I don't need to invite back out of the pity. Right, well, Maldi, you have absolutely missed some carnage, and I hate to break that to you because I thought you were here for it, and then you just cut out. As Hawks is just... Hawks is... Oh no! Oh, and the Hawks, Maldi. Hawks has really just had like a nightmare as he does retire for the session. Yeah, his race is pretty much done because we had seen... See, on the straight, on the first DRS straight, after turn 4 or 5, depending how you count your numbers, like you count your turns. See the smooth right that's flat out in the DRS? Janino lost it there. Or he had contact there and he was facing backwards on the big straight. Oh, Red Bull 1-2 as it stands. They've still yet to pit. Jamham and Hamjam came in early to get themselves onto the mediums, so they look to be two-stopping. And Stubbsy, like, because he was the lead car, he will have priority in the pit window, so we've seen Stubbsy kind of leaving it late to come out of the pits, and Stefanko was going to come in. Wasn't too much of a calamity, so to speak, but Stefanko will be forced to go another lap. And here's my prediction of saying they'll need to go to like lap 6 or 7 for the hards, and they're going to opt to go for lap 4 to the mediums, so the two-stop definitely looking to be the strategy of choice, which is interesting because it does leave the door open to some racing, as we see Seatsy getting up the inside at Mercury, and that's the hard tyres really coming into play now as Mercury's on the old soft rubber as well. So the softs are just going to feel like 50 pence pieces, and it's going to feel like driving on an ice rink rather than some fresh tarmac. And definitely he does leave both options on the table, which is a very strong position to find yourself in, because you can go and stretch this out and go to the hards if you really want to cut the two-stopper deficit. But if you really want to probably cover the two-stoppers, you'd probably want to be on the two-stop, because you never really know what can happen. Like safety car can throw spanner right into the mix, and a VSC at a very inopportune moment as we see Stefanko coming into the pits there. So if a safety car, a VSC came out at the worst possible time, he could really find himself on the back foot. So still a lot to really play for in the grand scheme of things, but you really kind of want to be on the right strategy at the right time. They'll most likely probably play the conservative strategy and pit for mediums roughly about lap 20 anyway to see themselves go to the end for there. But it is a matter of, I mean, if you really have like an extreme talent for tyre management, then we could try and maybe see them on the softs. It feels like the lesser of the two that they'll go for. I feel like mediums will probably be the safest bet to the checkered flag. But really all they're really going to be is, because we're going to see like Jamham and Stubbsy and Stefanko coming on with fresher rubber, the hard runners that started on the hards might end up being the bottlenecks, so to speak, and end up being the barricade for the progression for the people that have already pitted. But looking at the pit strategy as well, Maldi, Jamham and Hamjam opting for the mediums, so they definitely say to me that looks to be a two-stop with the hope of maybe a safety car or a VSC at a very prime moment for them, whereas Stubbsy and Stefanko, the two bulls, have came in for hards, so they think they can try and stretch this to the end. And it just looked to me there that Stefanko would let Hamjam through there, just sort of kind of completely divert there, Maldi. But as you were saying, like, the clouds really kind of rob us of the novelty of the sunset. But it's still very unique in the sense, because we're normally used to seeing pitch black rather than a bit of dusk and a bit of grey. Like, it looks very dusty. Like, it looks kind of like very grey and mystifying in a sense. Like, it does the look as majestic as the pitch black sky, but it definitely does still have a bit of character about it. But we're going to see Jamham going up the inside of Kevin into turn one. He's going to go late on the brakes. He's kind of cut it to make it work. He's kind of... Victor McFly keeps to the left. Connor goes the long way. Makes it move. Easy work. Up into P3. He definitely needs to... he's the only driver to have picked up a penalty as well, and I mean the symbol again on the timing screen kind of robs us of the unknown, because I do like the mystery of penalties, and it kind of like grips us for the suspense near the end. So to know that Connor's the only driver with a penalty so far, it kind of like makes him stand out in a sense. We also have the option to check and see how many seconds get added onto his time, or whether it's a drive-through or whatever. But I don't like the idea of checking that because I want to kind of leave some suspense there. We want to kind of leave that on the table for the drivers. But he definitely looks to be on it, Maldi, now that he's cleared Victor McFly. And what's really interesting as well is Davidson's going to get up the inside of Victor McFly. The Brazilian against the Spaniard. Locks up. Kind of runs off the track there. Keeps it on the curb. I think the curb does count as the track limits. So I think that move will probably just be legitimate and nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less. But I felt like that was the move that Davidson needed to make. Now that Victor McFly really is just kind of losing as the grip's really kind of getting to him, Maldi. The grip really just looks to be shredding away on the medium, so he is struggling for that lap time that he really does kind of need, because the hard runners are going to be no too far behind, and they're going to be at their best. It'll be the hards that will feel their best, other than Jam and Hamo and fresher mediums, Billy and fresh mediums at the back of the field as well, but I think he is technically retired because he's no in the lobby. But looking at the progress in comparison to that, Maldi, though, is Jamham's already up to the back of Gravity, so kind of looking at it in the grand scheme of things, is the two-stop can probably still see Jamham pick up some healthy points. His brother, like, obviously with the disconnection at the start of the race, massively unfortunate there, really does put him on the back foot, and he is in P12, just kind of running his own race. I think he came back into the lobby as well. So, Kevin's going to go up the inside. Kevin's up the inside of Matty, and he turn one. Maldi, sorry, Kevin looks to be. And definitely, it seems to be the most gripping piece of action on the field so far. Kevin and Matty fighting for P9, and it was just the same thing again, Maldi. Kevin got like a really good run, but Matty did everything he needed to on the exit of 5, and he's got a good enough exit out of these slower turns, so he's really doing everything. He's utilising his car to the best of its potential to make sure that he keeps the place. A wee love tap did kind of send him off the track, but it didn't really cost him too much. And Connor is in the pit lane. He'll be doing his stop go. He'll be serving his time penalty, unless it's a corner cutting penalty, then it'll be added to the end. If it's a 5 second, he'll be serving it. If it's a 3 second, it'll be added to his time at the end. And Matty and Kevin are side by side. Kevin's already alongside on the exit, so all that talk about good exits for the Stubbsy will kind of really need to. Oh, it looked like he's going to go up the inside of turn 7. That is the start to the Italian GP was very hectic, to say the least, as well. We just seen cars spewing off the circuit, and Stubbsy really needs to commit to a move at some point, because he's letting Kevin get away down the road, and he is on fresher hards. Matty, of course, doesn't need to move. Like, this is like third position technically, so to speak. But as we're saying, we're on board with Stubbsy, and he is looking up a few times into some of these corners. We can hear the tyres screeching as they lock up on the tarmac, and the smoke comes up for the brakes. As the Stubbsy did say in his interview that ABS is off for this race. It's one of his first few races way off, so he isn't really quite 100% with it. As Matty comes in on lap 11, which is a very early stop for hards. I don't know if he maybe has picked up some damage. We'll see what his pit stop is. If they've got a wing prepared for him. He's got damage. He's getting a wing change, Maldy. He's getting a wing change, so he feels like he would have probably lost too much time if he stayed out with the damage, and he's in, and he'll throw himself most likely onto the two-stop. The mediums are just a bit of a big ass to get to lap 21, never mind 31. But Stefanko is right on the rear wingy ham jam. So the Bull's really starting to thrive in a bit of clear air. Stefanko has caught up to the back of the Mercedes for P9, and Stubbsy is going to be hassling the Ferrari for P7 just a few seconds down the road. So Red Bull's really looking like they're kind of coming into their element at this stage. They are really coming into their own four in this race on the hards. And really both of them rubber stamping a sense of authority and making a statement for their pace. Is Hamjam really is under the cosh now, and I don't know if it's just the tyres, but Stefanko really one stop strategy looks to be the setup there for the Mercedes, but honestly, Maldy, I'm looking at this battle for P9 between Hamjam and Stefanko just, now that the hard tyres are kind of up into their window and up into temperature. Up side by side! Is Hamjam going to make easy work for his teammate? Oh, and kind of did look like he was defending it, but he does leave his teammate the inside, and he's going to be playing the team game here most likely, because Stefanko, honestly, Maldi, Stefanko is looking really punchy now with the hard tyres. Definitely, kind of does bring a bit of mystique, but you can just tell how different the pace is with the two Mercedes, because that's Bruno already 1.4 seconds away from his teammate, and Stefanko is still stuck behind. So Stefanko, Bruno Will has the massive benefit of Hamjam being his teammate. I don't think Hamjam would have made it easy if they were driving for different teams, obviously. But F1 is a team sport at the end of the day, so he is really doing everything he can to keep Stefanko behind. But at the same time, not to discredit Stefanko, but I think we might maybe need to see a bit of ruthlessness, and we're going to see it here though, Maldi, up the inside. Onto the brake in turn 6, up the inside, easy move, and I was literally about to say we need to see a bit of a cutting edge for the Red Bull driver, and as soon as I said it, I don't know if my mic's connected to his, but he heard me saying it and he went up the inside he got close enough, and up the inside he went. Ham Jam just, I think the tyres have seen, they've definitely seen better days now, as we're just about to hit half distance here in Singapore. Oh, and Mercury's left that one very late, very half-hearted move up the inside. Ham Jam didn't really leave all that much space, but I think Mercury did just kind of leave that a bit late. It kind of looked like he was going to sit one behind, and then because the car wasn't going to really slow down, he kind of like chucked it up to the inside there. Wasn't really on, but both of them escaped unscathed. But Mercury really will be looking to get the move done very, very soon. I don't know if the soft to the medium was definitely the planned strategy. It definitely looked to be the planned strategy for Jamham. So maybe they have kind of shared that information with each other, as Mercury is just going to get the slipstream. Ham Jam really is he is really defenceless on the old mediums, so I think he's just kind of letting him go now. It's not his race to be running. But Ham has had the massive stroke of bad luck with his AI as well. Like, I would definitely have expected him to be around where his brother was. Like, if we look at the gap between Ham and Jam, it's 13 seconds. So I don't know how much time you lose with disconnecting. I would assume it is around about 10 seconds, so he's probably lost that through the disconnection alone and trying to get back in. And plus, he was thrown out in a bit of traffic, so he's just really not had the best time yet. His qualifying pace, like P2, started P2, and then just to have a massive stroke of bad luck and be thrown out right at the 5 lights is really just kind of like took him for 6, really. It really depends just how Stubbsy really needed to get the exit off the Anderson Bridge there if he was going to make a move and get some time between himself and DJ Danny, and then himself and Bruno Will as well. So Stubbsy will be sitting in some traffic at least through sector 3. It's a very narrow and tight sequence of corners, not really prime overtaking opportunities in the third sector, so you really can have to settle. Turn 1 will be the next best opportunity, but it does run really wide. Excuse me. It's going to... And Stubbsy again, you can just hear the bull looking up the front tyres on the brakes. And he's went wayward there, and I don't know what really happened there, but I don't know. Bruno Wall's got the revving glitch for me, but Stubbsy looked like he get really out of shape on the straight. It sounds really weird. It sounds really painful for the... It sounds really painful for the ears, if I'm being honest, but I think that's true. As we see gravity pitting, so DJ Danny will be the leader of this race. Bruno Will locking up the inside there as we ride on board with Stubbsy into turn 1, 2 and 3 there. Quick succession, quick sweeping of corners there. Bruno will have DJ Danny down a straight here as well. I don't think there's really much of a doubt about it. ERS advantage, tyre advantage, pace advantage, speed advantage, inside advantage. Advantage Bruno Will as he takes the lead on lap 19 of 51. At least once a race. He definitely not, but like that's the racing brain, really, isn't it? Like, he always puts himself into the best possible situations, and that's why we always see him at the forefront. Talking about Bruno Will, we can't really no go and mention Davison in this sense. His championship rival, honestly, Maldi, as he literally just makes a move for P7 there, really hasn't been anywhere. He's kind of been under the radar for most of this race. Wow. Definitely, like, he still keeps himself in the hunt, but if Bruno Will's going to get like these healthy advantages, then the championship can definitely be wrapped up in the coming rounds. Like, of course, like, we'll go to Russia next week before we have our Christmas break, but it wouldn't be like, with the way performances have really shaped out, Maldi, like, it wouldn't surprise me if Bruno Will could wrap up and DJ Danny once again just being the barrack. It is visible confusion here in the comms boxes. DJ Danny does eventually peel off into the pits, and Stefanko's going to have Davison right underneath the bull's wing. Oh, and he's... Oh. Superb reactions there for the Brazilian there in the Williams, because Stefanko was coming through turn 20 and 21 and he seen Davison right in his wing mirrors and he was going to move. He did move a smidge, but it looked to be a bit late, and Davison with some superb cat-like reflexes ends up nearly like getting all the way to the pit wall just to avoid Stefanko, but ends up getting the move done with a very smooth, light braking manoeuvre into turn 1 and 2. So Davison is going to have Zizi, and Stubbsy's only 4.5 seconds up the road. See, honestly, Maldi, I'm sitting here saying, oh, Davison, no seen too much of him. He's not really been on it. He can still get P2 if he doesn't pick up penalties. Definitely. Oh, yellow flags in the third sector. Gravity's retired. I've absolutely no idea, but I'll tell you what's happening right now. Davison running outside of Stubbsy on the run into 6. And into the podium positions he goes. Seatsy and Davison will be chasing Bruno Will now on the mediums. And they are extremely fresh, but we know Bruno Will can be extremely quick on his day, and his day is quite often every day. So it is a very hard thing to beat him. So you need to bring your A++, and the tyres will definitely play an advantage. We definitely. And Stefanko once again finding himself under pressure on the pit straight into turn 1. Jamham, Maldi, the 2-stopping Jamham up into P6 on fresh mediums while everybody else is on old hards. So the mediums, I think it really is kind of coming to that point where it will be in the favour of the medium runners on the light car and the fresh medium softer rubber. Jamham no quite getting close enough to Stefanko this time round, because Stefanko had DRS for Billy's ghost car down the straight into 6. But I honestly, Maldi, looking at this situation, Jamham can still get P4, maybe even P3 if CC's got a if he. Inject it indeed, as we are getting some good track action in the closing stages. We're in lap 23 of 31, and it's Bruno Will that leads this race on the hard tyres. It's definitely the pitch black skies that we're very familiar with. The sunset to darkness dynamic wasn't quite on the cards, but it definitely did spring. Exactly, and if you want to tune in to see Maldi trade his microphone for a steering wheel, then tune in tomorrow night 8 o'clock GMT, where Tier 2 will be taking on the Singapore Street Circuit here in Marina Bay. And I think your commentary. This could be it. Oh, late move. He needs to make it. Stefanko's defending it. Oh. He's got a... I've absolutely zero idea, Maldi. I don't know what his penalty was for, but I think it was one of the bigger penalties and he's just put over. He's let them all through. I don't know if he's got damage. I can't see unless it's a very marginal piece of carbon fibre that's came off the front wing and is really... I think they must have came together, Maldi, because that gap is absolutely massive now. And top of Mercury, he's in between Stefanko and Connor. Battle for P5 kind of heating up. Connor did have a penalty early on, but he served it in the pit lane. And he let this train a free go, and he's not really catching them. And it really looks to be a cooked goose at this point. It's quite hard to come back for. I think if he can minimalise the damage in Russia, I need to check the championship standings myself, but if he can minimalise the deficit in Russia, he can use the Christmas break as a form of rehabilitation and try and get himself back into that racing mentality and that mindset, because after this race as well, 81, he's retired, so that's going to be... So Bruno Will's going to take 25. Add 25 under your 81 is 106. So 106, Bruno Will can win the championship in Japan, in Russia, sorry, if he wins and Davison Disney score. Right? That's right. Is that what it is, aye? Is that right? Right. Aye, because 125 after Christmas. Right, that's that then. Because Bruno Will, it's like he's 13 seconds ahead, gap's building, everybody behind him's got penalties. I hardly see him going to be losing this one. Really, no, for lap 26. It's just a matter of keeping your focus and just keeping the car in the lines and on the track. So you can go to Russia with a championship winning mentality and the hope that Davison doesn't pick up points. And Davison, it really is like a losing battle in a sense. Like Davison is ridiculously talented, but it's just been a matter of the last few races have really been killer to his season. Like if you're going to have like a drop-in performance, at least have it at the start where like it doesn't really go for much. Like you're in the champ. And CC's went backwards. Maldi, Stefanko, Mercury, Connor, Jamham. Quite a lot of very gentlemanly manoeuvres being made, if I'm being honest. Like we've seen Stubbsy letting a few folk through, Stefanko's letting a few folk through, Stefanko's picked up a penalty. And we've seen CC just letting them through. I don't know if it is just damage related, but quite a lot of drivers being very gentlemanly, if I'm being honest. But Jamham is... Jam Ham's up into P2. He's on fresh mediums, while Stubbs is on really old hards. So I think there might be a gap starting to build there. But you couldn't separate the battle for P4. Stefanko, Mercury, Connor, and then Tsitsi is just kind of slowly drifting off. They are very much in the hunt, and it is advantage Connor for P4, maybe even P3, depending on how many penalty Stubbs he's got. So Connor really is in the driving seat despite being at the back of this train. Mercury's going to have the DRS. Stefanko is going to have to use his ERS to defend. And again, Mercury no quite getting close enough, but if he can keep the car tucked underneath the rear wing through turn 4 and 5, this could be a run into turn 7. And we could see him making a move. We'll sit on board with Mercury now as he deploys everything he's got in the tank. And again, it's no quite enough. Stefanko and Mercury and Connor all running very similar ERS. And Connor does have the advantage, A, having 5-lap fresher tyres, and the big advantage, A, no having a penalty flag next to his name. So it really is just advantage McLaren at this point. That's quite surprising considering that Singapore in real life has like a 100% or like a 95% track record for safety cars in real life, but not in this race. Aye, definitely. They'll just be looking forward to seeing the checkered flag now, and they'll be glad to know that it is in just about 5 minutes time when... Oh, honestly, Maldi, the Singapore does honestly just take it right at you. It tears you a new one. Like, it is one of the few circuits that I just dread to go to. And I say few circuits, I mean I don't like most of them, so. Pit lane, he's retired in the pit lane. I think he did some damage. Russia. See, it's quite interesting because Russia gets quite a lot of stick for... I mean, lovely's maybe a bit of a strong word to be fair, but like, it does have some good things about it. Like, I like the swooping turn 3, like the long left-hander, a turn 4 sorry, because that wee Kinko next at a 2 is turn 3. I like the first sector. Second sector's very nice and free-flowing. It's just the last sector that kinda like kills the momentum for me in Russia. And in real life, it's no really a track that plays to these current cars' strengths. But in the game, like, you get like a very different story. And Russia is like, it's almost like the Marmite circuit of the calendar. Like, I feel like it's either you love or you hate it. But I'm kind of like on the fence because I do like certain attributes that it provides, but at the same time, I can understand why people don't really like it. And Maldi once again just putting himself all in on a certain opinion there. Love to see that. Stefanko is doing a very stellar job at defending because Mercury is looking that bit better. And I think Connor really just knows that this is a battle worth sticking your nose in. As Mercury leaves the braking late there, Stefanko. Oh, and he's got a bit of slide on. and Connor's going to have a wee run. Mercury quickly shuts it down. No, Connor, is he going to go to the inside? He's going to just settle in behind. He's... I would have thought if I was Connor, definitely looks to be the case. It depends how many penalties Stubbsy and Jam have in front, because they're just 4.5 seconds down the road as Bruno Will does start the final lap here. Good man, love to keep the suspense, love to keep the viewers in a loop, love to keep the commentators in a loop as well. And I don't think Connor's really going to put too much an effort in getting by Stefanko, because he will have that information that they'll have penalties, so he'll not really try all that much. But Stubbsy looking on the back of Jamham once again, but I don't think it'll really be worth challenging. I think this kind of might be us, if I'm being honest. DJ Danny though is going to have a wee run on Ham Jam in the battle for P9. Not quite close enough. It's really just been I think it really has been one to kind of wipe the slate clean way. Like, it's not really one for the drivers. Wait, Hamjam never had the penalty symbol next to his name, and now he's lost like 15 seconds. Hamjam? Oh no, tell me, because... Can you check Hamjam's penalties? Aye, check his penalties, because I'm sure he had no penalties on that final lap, and now he's lost to DJ Danny. Unless he picked up a penalty right at the end. Ah, right, so he'll probably report that then. Right, no, that's fine, but Matty does... Oh, I did like the two-stop, if I'm being fair. Jamham managed to make it work when I thought it was the slower strategy. Connor to keep it clean. Bruno Will with the one stop. I think we could get to anybody in the podium, and I don't think there would be too much a dispute. But I would definitely get to any one of the three at the front, because they've got it for very different reasons. Bruno Will for just having a very clean commanding race at the front, very much untroubled once he got into the hard tyres and got them up to speed. Jamham, two-stop strategy, in my mind it looked to be the much slower strategy, but he had like absolute blistering pace on both medium stints in comparison to the hard runners. And Connor did have an early 5-second penalty, served it in the pit lane, so he probably lost a lot of time there. Kept it clean once he came out, and with some good battle near the end, ended up getting his cell on the third step on the podium. So I think any one of they three would be quite deserving of the title for Driver of the Day. Who? I was about to. If
I'm just glad that I managed to get P3 because obviously I had a bit of a crash with City and I got a 5-second penalty when I was rejoining because I don't know what happened with Hawks to be honest. But yeah, that didn't really help. But yeah, I'm just happy I managed to get P3. Yeah, I am to be honest. It's quite a difficult race to like concentrate for the whole thing to be honest. But yeah. I quite enjoy it to be honest. It's quite fun to drive in a race. It's got like an
I mean,
thanks.
Uh, that's a tough question. I don't know really. I can't say personally that's really ever been my aim. Obviously, everyone wants to win, but I don't think I'm quick enough to challenge him. I mean, the odd track, obviously, like we've seen earlier on in the I won the Monaco, but I think any other track apart from that, maybe not so much. Hmm. Just be happy with points. It's not one of my strongest tracks, I don't think, but maybe sneak top 5 or podium if I'm lucky. Thank you.
I can so. Can so.